What's going on, Slay Baes? It's Ashley and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be talking all about new affordable beauty dupes for high-end beauty products. I know, it's been a while. I was actually on my YouTube channel last night, and I was scrolling through trying to figure out when was the last time I filmed one of these videos, and it was a whopping 4 months ago. Mind-blowing, crazy to even think about, but we're here. I'm excited. I found some really awesome gems that I think you guys are going to love. I actually think they're gonna blow your mind. So subscribe to my channel if you guys haven't already. Also, while you're at it, click that little bell just so that way YouTube will in turn notify you whenever I upload, which is every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, we're just gonna get right into it because trust me when I tell you, I have a lot of products to get through. Let's go. So to kick off today's video, we're gonna be talking about eyeshadow palettes. Now, if you're new to my channel, here's the thing about eyeshadow palette dupes. You're never gonna get an exact dupe unless it's a straight up replica and or copy. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys affordable options to higher end eyeshadow palettes, but they're not spot on dupes and or replicas. So the first palette I really wanna talk about is the Urban Decay Naked Honey eyeshadow palette. This was a staple for me last year. I could not put it down, and I cannot put it down this year as well. It is such an incredible eyeshadow palette. When it first came out, I was kind of like, okay, Naked Honey, like I'm kind of over the Naked series Urban Decay has to offer. But this palette was a little bit different for me just because the tones of the mattes and also the shimmers were very beautiful. It was unlike anything I had in my collection. I really love the tones of the browns within this palette simply because they're more like pukey browns. And I know that's so weird to say, but they look so incredible on the eyes, especially if you're going for more of a grungy look. Now, Urban Decay palettes do retail for $49. Crazy expensive. When I first started out in makeup, my fiance now was the one who actually bought me all my Urban Decay palettes, but I know how expensive it was because that's why I personally didn't buy them. So I really wanted to show you an affordable option. Granted, this palette isn't a spot on dupe and or replica. The tones within the palette are very similar to that of the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. And I'm talking about this palette right here, the Physicians Formula, the Gold Vault. This is the 24 karat gold collagen face and eye palette. Now, this is marketed as a face and eye palette, so a lot of the finishes within this palette are going to be shimmery. So I like to think of this as an eye topper palette. It does retail for $17.99, so it is a price point of a $31 difference between that of the Urban Decay palette. But if I hold both of them up right next to each other, you can see what? They definitely look very similar. So when I saw this, I knew I had to compare it to the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. I definitely want to swatch the yellows from within both palettes. This here is the one from the Physicians Formula palette. And then I'm going to swatch Honey, which is an iconic shade in the Naked Honey palette right next to each other. And they honestly look identical swatch right next to each other. This one right here is the one from Physicians Formula. I feel like this one is a little bit more reflective and it's definitely a lot more beaming than the one from Urban Decay. The one from Urban Decay definitely is a little bit more pressed, so it feels a little bit more dry to touch, but they both give you that really beautiful effect. I'm actually gonna throw some other swatches up on the screen just so that way you can see what some of the shimmers look like right next to each other. Again, not spot on dupes and or replicas, but this is definitely a comparable option if you didn't wanna go out and spend $49 on the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette. So you can thank me later. And that's on period. I'd be lying if I said this next eyeshadow palette dupe wasn't a little bit of a reach. And I am talking about this palette right here by Melt Cosmetics. This is their Smoke Sessions palette. I wanted this for as long as I can remember. When I went into Sephora, it was always out of stock. And then I went in just that one time and I saw that they had it in stock, so I decided to pick it up. Once I picked this up, I came across another palette that I felt like was very similar. Now this palette right here from Melt is $48. You get 3, 6, 8 eyeshadows for $48. So crazy to think about, but it has a very pretty color story. Unlike anything I have in my collection, it has the golds, it has kind of like the mossy greens, the blues, the mints, you get it. Again, this does retail for $48. but I did find something very, very similar to it. And I am talking about this palette right here by Makeup Revolution. This is the Forever Flawless Chilled eyeshadow palette. When you open it up, it does have a very similar color story. Is it identical? No. And the only reason I say it's similar is because the mints and the greens definitely remind me of the Smoke Sessions palette by Melt Cosmetics. This one here does retail for $15, so that's a $33 savings if you do decide to go with this one by Makeup Revolution. I'm gonna hold them up right next to each other. Obviously, they pull a little bit different. The one from Melt has some really pretty mossy greens as well as a gold, whereas the one from Makeup Revolution has a lot of mints. It has a lot of greens. It has some neutral browns, making it a little bit more wearable than that of the one from Melt Cosmetics, but definitely take your pick. I feel like they are pretty comparable to each other. So if you wanted to save the $33 and have a similar color story, I feel like this one would be a really awesome option. This next eyeshadow dupe is gonna blow your mind. It actually blew my mind. When I saw it in store, I immediately knew what I was gonna dupe it to. So the high-end product I wanna talk about is the Huda Beauty New Nudes eyeshadow palette. Now, I buy all of my Huda Beauty palettes myself. I'm not on their PR list, so trust me when I tell you, it hurts my bank account anytime I go into Sephora and I drop $65 on an eyeshadow palette, because that's a lot of money. That's actually as much as I would spend on an eyeshadow palette. Like the Natasha Denona palettes, they're cool and everything, but I just can't imagine spending $125 over and over on eyeshadow. But $65, I could justify it. Huda Beauty's formula is insanely beautiful. It's very creamy. It's buttery to touch. It blends like a dream. It's honestly on a whole nother level. This palette right here is a staple for me. I really love her glitter formulas, and I also really love like this foiled magic dream. It literally melts right into your skin. It's unlike anything I've ever tried. But again, $65, it's not something the average person or anybody really wants to spend on an eyeshadow palette. So I went into CVS maybe about a couple weeks ago and I came across this palette by Physicians Formula. This is the Rose All Day palette, and you can't tell me this reminds you of the New Nudes palette all day. Like, I could not believe it. Also, this formula right here is very similar to the one from Huda Beauty. It really melts into the skin. It's very buttery. It's creamy. It's everything you would want in an eyeshadow. I did swatch both of these right next to each other, and while the one from Physicians Formula is just slightly lighter and the one from Huda Beauty is slightly deeper, like they could very well pass as spot on dupes for each other. Like if I was to wear this one by Physicians Formula on my eyes and say I was wearing New Nudes, nobody would be able to tell the difference. Now, this Rose All Day palette from Physicians Formula does retail for $17.99, so you are saving $47 by going with the Physicians Formula one over the one from Huda Beauty. Definitely take your pick, but I feel like these are so incredibly beautiful and spot on dupes for each other without being replicas and or copies. Because I live in Florida, I'm really big on products that are going to provide me with longevity and also just help my face stay on, because let's be honest, it's hot, it's humid, it's all of that. So a product that is a staple in my collection is this one right here by Urban Decay. This is the All Nighter Waterproof Setting Powder. It retails for $34, and this is a translucent shade, so it is a universal shade that is going to look good on any and everybody, no matter your skin tone. One thing that really gets me about this powder though, and I know I'm not the only one, is that it looks very dark in the pan. So sometimes when I'm putting it on, I can't help but feel like it's gonna alter the color of my foundation. Like most days I go in with a pretty heavy hand, so then I'm like, hold up, rewind, pump the brakes. Things are getting a little wonky, but if you dust a little bit on, trust me when I tell you, your makeup is gonna stay on. It's not gonna smudge or budge whatsoever. I did find a very cheaper alternative by Catrice. This here is the Catrice Prime and Fine Mattifying Powder. It is a waterproof powder that is also translucent. This one is a lot lighter in the pan, so you aren't gonna have any hiccups or mistakes with it. You can go in as heavy-handed as you want, and it's not really going to get muddy or anything like that. This powder right here by Catrice does retail for $7.50. Now that's an affordable powder. If you were to go with the one from Catrice over the one from Urban Decay, you're saving about $27, but hey, do what you want. So this next product I did dupe in one of my previous videos, and I'm talking about this powder right here. It's iconic, everyone loves it. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder. Honey, $45. Like, you thought the powder from Urban Decay was expensive. That's nothing when you tack on an additional like $9. Like, that's a lot. And sometimes I feel like I go through this powder like water. So to spend $45 over and over and over just blows my mind. So I did find another dupe for it. In my previous video, I did dupe it to the Flower Beauty Light Illusion powder. Since then, that powder fell off the table and it completely broke and it shattered. And Flower Beauty is so hard to get my hands on, at least for me recently. In Ulta, it's not available. I have to order it on Amazon, and I'm all about accessibility. I want things to be easily accessible. I want to drive to the store and be able to pick it up when I run out of it. So sometimes Amazon isn't just like in my back pocket, even though I have Prime. Sometimes I'm lazy, sometimes I don't want to order it. Whatever, okay? We're not talking about that. We're talking about this. This here is the Physicians Formula Natural Defense Set the Tone Finishing Powder. It has sunscreen in it, but it is literally a spot-on dupe for the one from Charlotte Tilbury. This one here is in the shade 2, so this one here isn't like a spot-on color match. If I had shade 1, which I recently ran out of, it would be a very, very spot-on match for this one right here in the shade Light. When I tell you, it gives you a very, very beautiful micro fine finish on your skin that it doesn't even look like you're wearing powder. Sometimes putting on too much powder can tend to make you look a little bit old, dry, crusty. This powder does not do that and melts into the skin. It blurs out your skin like no other. And I'm telling you, it almost looks like second skin. So definitely go pick this up. You will love it. Thank me later and save all your coins, because this one right here, I'm not sure if I mentioned, this one from Physicians Formula only costs $15. So if you were to go with this one over the one from Charlotte Tilbury, you're saving $30. Say no more. I'm all about a good savings. So I only have a couple lip product dupes to share with you, and they're honestly very just straight to the point, very simple, so I might as well just do them right now. I will be duping the MAC lip pencil in the shade Spice. This is a really, really beautiful kind of like mauve shade. It's very like Kylie Jenner when she first got her lips done and everybody was like, I need that lip color. That's what this is, Spice. But I did find a cheaper alternative. By the way, MAC lip pencils do retail for $18. Spend it if you want. They're very, very good. I'm all about a good lip pencil, but I'm all about saving money too. So a spot on dupe for that is Sugar and Spice by LA Girl Cosmetics. I'm gonna swatch them right next to each other and you'll be able to see that they are pretty much identical. The one from LA Girl here does retail for $4. That's a $14 savings. Again, I love LA Girl lip liner pencils. They're holy grail. I stand by them 100%. You can line your lips with them, fill them in completely, use them as your lip color without even having to put on a lipstick because they don't ball up, they don't look dry, anything like that. Whereas the ones from MAC, sometimes I feel like when I line my lips with them and fill them in completely, they tend to ball up and they don't look as seamless as the ones from LA Girl. So again, a spot on dupe for the one from MAC is Sugar and Spice by LA Girl. I'll have them linked down below in case you guys are interested. And another MAC lip dupe I have is for Strip Down. Look how little this Strip Down pencil is. I probably went through maybe about 2 of these last year before I found this next dupe. So this is Strip Down that I am swatching right here. Right next to it, I'm swatching another lip pencil by LA Girl. This one is in the shade Cafe. Spot on dupe for Strip Down. Like, I couldn't even believe it. Like, why was I spending $18 over and over when I could easily pay $4? I'm pretty sure you guys are sick and tired of me talking about this next dupe because I literally talk about it in every single video, and I'm talking about the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. This clearly isn't the dupe. This is the higher end version of it, but Soft Ochre is an OG favorite. It was very, very highly rated back when I first started my channel, and for very, very good reasons. I never really understood it until I actually went out and bought it myself. Go figure. But this is an eyeshadow primer that is formulated for eyeshadow application. So if you're still using concealer and you aren't sure why your eyeshadows are getting patchy or blotchy, or they're not blending as seamless as other people who are actually using eyeshadow primer, then you should definitely definitely jump on the bandwagon and try out a product that is formulated for it, because it's really gonna glide on very, very smooth. It's gonna blend out like a dream. This here mutes out my eyelids and it also cancels out any discoloration. So if you do struggle with that, or if you have heavy veinage on your eyes whatsoever, this is really gonna be the best product for you. It does retail for $22, which is, it's not too bad, but why spend $22 when you could easily spend $8 on this right here by Revolution Pro? This is their Eye Elements Eye Primer in the shade Core. The only real difference between the two is that the one from MAC has yellow undertones, whereas the one from Revolution Pro leans a little bit more beige, but honestly, they do the exact same thing. It's funny because one day I accidentally put the matte cap on the one from Revolution Pro, and the entire time I thought I was using Soft Ochre by MAC until I flipped it around and I noticed that there was no name on the bottom and it was not Soft Ochre. It was actually Core by Revolution Pro. The one from MAC actually has a MAC Soft Ochre on the bottom, so there's that. Like, I couldn't tell the difference, and if I couldn't tell the difference and I do this every single day, odds are you're not either. Let's talk highlighters, and trust me when I tell you, I have a lot of highlighters to get through. So I first and foremost want to talk about the Anastasia Amrezy highlighter. I do know that this did come back in stock at one point towards the very end of last year, but other than that, it's been very, very highly rated and very, very sought out because it hasn't been available for such a long time. This here is such a beautiful, blinding, golden highlight. Like, if you didn't get your hands on it, I feel bad for you, but not really, because I do have a spot on dupe for it. I actually duped it to this product right here by Pixi last year. This is the Pixi Glowy Gossamer Duo in the shade Subtle Sunrise. The shade that is the lightest shade in this duo right here is a spot on dupe and formula dupe for the one from Amrezy. I put them right next to each other, and honestly, girl, you cannot tell the difference at all whatsoever. But since then, I did find another dupe for it, and I am talking about the Revlon Skin Lights Prismatic Highlighter in the shade Daybreak Glimmer. I'm actually gonna do a swatch right next to the other two. And honey, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference between any of these three highlighters. I won't lie and say the Pixi one isn't my favorite. It's just something about the way it melts into my skin and looks very, very skin-like. But the thing about the Pixi one is that you can't apply it with a brush. You actually have to apply it with your fingers. I do feel like I have more control with a brush when I'm applying highlighter. So it's definitely kind of like a flaw within, but not a deal breaker completely. The one from Revlon here, Daybreak Glimmer, it is insanely beautiful. So if you are into applying your highlighter with a brush, I definitely feel like you will love this one. I was actually saving it to put on in today's video because I want you guys to see just how beautiful it really, really is. Like, girl, you need it like yesterday. I will have it listed down below. It gives you the same exact effect as the one from Anastasia by Amrezy, but this one right here, it does come in at a price point of $11.99, whereas the one from Amrezy comes in at $28. So if you were to go with the affordable one, you'll be saving about $16. Let's talk about highlighter trios, because this one, whoo, it's been talked about for years. And I'm talking about the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Palette that has 3 different shades. I've actually had this in my collection for a hot minute, probably longer than I should have, but I cannot let this go simply because it retails for $64. That's expensive for a highlight trio palette. Let's be honest, let's be real. This is so beautiful. I love to put it like right underneath my eyes, or I love to dust it on the highest points of my cheeks when I want a very, very pretty glow without looking too intense. Sometimes highlighters can come off a little bit too intense and they're not everybody's cup of tea. So if you opt for something just like this, it'll add a really, really beautiful glow to the skin while still remaining natural. So again, this retails for $64. I did find a very, very comparable product, if not a spot on dupe for it. This one is by Catrice. This is the Deluxe Glow Highlighter Palette. And as you can see, same exact concept. We have those really, really pretty highlighting powders here. I'm gonna hold both of them up right next to each other just so that way you can kind of see and get a feel for what I'm seeing. While the ones from Hourglass, they're not as light in the pan, they still do the exact same thing. They're gonna give you a really, really beautiful luminosity to your skin without looking too intense and still remaining very, very natural. The formula of both powders are very, very soft and very fine to touch, and they add a really, really pretty glow to the skin. The best part about all of this is that this product right here retails for $4. So if you do the math and you go with the one from Catrice rather than the one from Hourglass, you're saving $60. Like, why spend $60 when you can spend $4? Like, say less. I'll save my points. I'll save them all. Let's talk about loose highlighters. Now, a loose highlighter I really wanted to draw some light to is this one right here by Jaclyn Cosmetics. This is the Beaming Loose highlighter in the shade Balm. I'd be lying if I said her formula was not bomb. I find myself reaching for this very, very often. I really love the formula. It's one of those formulas that really melts into the skin and gives you more of like a skin-like finish, but not natural, because there's nothing natural about a beaming highlight. Let's be honest, let's be real. This retails for $24. I do feel like it is very well priced for a loose highlighter of this size. However, I did find a cheaper alternative. Y'all know me, I was digging through my makeup collection and I came across this right here by e.l.f. This is a collaboration with Nabella. You guys, spot on dupe for the color and shade Balm by Jaclyn Cosmetics. I'm gonna throw swatches up on the screen just so that way we can compare the two, but there really is no clear difference between the two, and I'm being completely honest and 100% with you guys. Like, no clear difference. The one from e.l.f. retails for $4 and the one from Jaclyn Cosmetics is $24. So that's a $24 savings. They're both gonna give you that really, really beautiful skin-like effect. They're gonna melt into the skin and they're gonna be super, super intense. The only big difference between the two is that the one from Jaclyn Cosmetics is slightly smaller than the one from e.l.f. The one from e.l.f. you would very well have for your whole life because no one's using that much highlight. The last and final product I want to dupe in today's video is this one right here by NARS. This is the Natural Radiant Long Wear Foundation. I did a full review on this video when it came out, maybe about like 2 years ago. It's been a minute, but since then, this has been one of my holy grail high-end foundations. I love the way it looks on my skin. I love the way it wears throughout the day. Granted, I live in Florida, so it's hot and humid. You wouldn't think I would gravitate more towards like a radiant foundation, but this is a long wearing foundation. It has really, really good longevity to it. It doesn't break up whatsoever, and it still looks like my skin. So for so long, I have been looking for a foundation dupe for this, but I haven't found one up until Wet n Wild recently released their Photo Focus Dewy Foundation. This is a spot on dupe for the one from NARS. Like, it is crazy to even say out loud. I am wearing the one by Wet n Wild on my face right now, in case you guys are curious. I will have it listed down below. The wear, the longevity, everything is incredible and spot on to the one from NARS. So definitely check this one out. This one right here is $6.49 and the one from NARS is $49. The price difference between the two is $42. So honey, save all your coins. And that is pretty much it, Slay Bays. That wraps up my new affordable dupes for high-end beauty products. What did you think of the dupes I mentioned in today's video? If you guys have any other new affordable dupes that you want to recommend to me, let me know down below in the comments. I'm always looking for cheaper alternatives to high-end beauty products. I mean, if I could save a little bit of coin, if I could save you a little bit of coin, like, we're all good here. You know what I mean? So subscribe to my channel if you guys haven't already. Click that bell just so that way YouTube will notify you when I upload, which is every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love you guys so much, and I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces.